got the letters in 6th grade. Don't even think of playing football at Memorial. Come September, you suck and we want to win. Try some other sport like soccer for little girls like you. Don't come out. If you do, we'll hurt you. We have all summer to think about it. We know where you live now, you jerk.
We were told it would be any act of like harassment or intimidation. It could be something verbal, it could be something physical, but really the point of it was that they were going to be harming another student, either mentally or physically. It could also be something that takes place on the computer, like cyberbullying or outside of school.
The anti-bullying law actually has been around for quite some time. This new law was just a revised version of the law that's been around for at least a decade, if not more. And the new one is just not only revised, but it addresses the more important issues that are affecting us in the 21st century.
Well, there's a lot of legislation, took a lot of years to put this together, and then the state has come up with a package about procedures that we have to go through under it's called HIB, Harassment, Intimidation, and Bullying Laws. For example, you have to have in each school a HIB specialist. Any report of bullying goes to the HIB specialist. They go to the administrator with it, they investigate it, could involve the police. Then it has to go to the principal of the building, then it has to go to the superintendent and to the Board of Education. That's how detailed it is and how thorough.
At first I thought it was a joke for my brothers, and then I was like all picking on them and asking them like if they did it. And I was on that for a couple of months until my mom called the cops, and then that's when I realized it wasn't them.
It involves children and they're innocent, and I think that a lot of people feel for the circumstances and are seeing some of the long-term effects of bullying and how dangerous it can be to someone's mental health. So I think it's just a response and maybe even a protection of the children that are in our schools.
I don't think any bullying law could be too strict. It's just one of those areas where there is no gray area. Bullying simply in school can ruin the environment for students. So the stronger you make that law, the better for everyone. Everyone's
buzzing about it now. It's something that's on the news. It's something that, teachers are learning about, parents are learning about, and kids are being educated about. So I think that's the one big pro that's bringing a lot of attention to this issue, and people are, sitting up and listening and educating themselves more about mental health.
It also has the kids and the parents aware that this will not be taken lightly. It's also supplied funding so that you can bring in things like guest speakers, buy posters for the walls, give us the monies that we need to fight this problem.
The number one thing that I think is a pro in the law is that this law is protecting the victim. For so many years we've been focusing on how to stop bullying without focusing on when bullying happens, because it's going to happen, what do we do to support the victim?
Yeah, that was Nikki.
I started playing football in 5th grade, then I played in 6th grade, and then I skipped 7th grade and played again in 8th. When I first read the letter, it felt sort of like awkward because I was still on the team, and whoever wrote that letter was playing with me and he was my teammate, and he still wrote that letter.
In my mind, bullying is more than a one-time event. It's even 2, 3, 4 times constantly, same kid at the same other student about the same issue.
There was a second letter, but I didn't know about it until recently because my mom, it came in the mail when my mom was home, and then she hid it from me and never told me about it. I would rather have her tell me that I got the letter the day I got it rather than finding out now. Still gonna walk home from school this year? Look over your shoulder. Why don't you try being a cheerleader? We will be in the same building now, monkey boy. It doesn't feel good.
One of the cons is that I don't think there's enough training for the teachers. The law states that teachers should receive training. However, the law doesn't provide for that training. And that's one thing I always see as a habitual problem with many of the laws that come out, is that it's one thing to state that something needs to be done. How is it going to take place, and what's the state going to do to assist with that process?
The law is really too specific. If I say to you, you're ugly, is that bullying? If it's a one-time incident, if it's just a flip comment. So I really think the one part that's good leaves it up to the administrator to determine if it is bullying. But But you know, one time in the playground, a kid calls another kid fat or ugly or stupid. Is that bullying? No. Is it wrong? Absolutely. But is it true bullying? I don't think so.
There are a lot of resources being taken up because every little bullying incident has to be something that's investigated. That does take a lot of time. As far as my district goes, they haven't hired any additional people to support the law. So it's a lot of people that are, you know, putting in extra time and adding to their job role already.
I don't think the situation was handled that well because the coaches really only mentioned it like twice and they really didn't care about it after that. We didn't find out who did it.
Now it's much more tightened up, and if we report it to the police, they can't just shrug it off as, you know, some stupid little boy prank. They really have to investigate it.
After 7th grade, I didn't decide to join football the first month of 8th grade because I thought none of my friends were playing, and then once I saw them and what a good time they were having, I decided to join. And after I started joining, the coaches were trying me out and they put me in defensive end, and our team went all the way to the Super Bowl against Totowa. I feel that I could rub that in that kid's face, that I still continue to play football and we went all the way to the Super Bowl.
Bullying, I think, has progressed mainly due to the internet, Facebook, all of those types of communications where kids are bullying each other online, the cyberbullying.
It would be really any act of harassment or intimidation, but it would just be through like an electronic means or, you know, through the internet, a text message, anything like that.
When I was a kid, 40, 50 years ago, if we had a beef, I told you, you know, this was this, we might have had a little fist fight and it was over. Nowadays, if you cyberbully someone, everybody gets to hear what you've called them. It's out there to thousands of people, literally. It's not just you and I anymore, or maybe your two friends and my two friends. So the embarrassment, the young fella that killed himself at Rutgers because he was secretly videotaped and was possibly gay. I mean, the kid was so embarrassed he had to kill himself. You know, it's just horrible, and you constantly hear these stories.
I think the important thing about this law is that they really need to look at how it's working so far. You know, it's something that's so new, so I think that it's something that you need to take a look at, and is it effective in the schools? What's not effective, what can we change, and go from there.
We saw that a lot of these unfortunate events were happening outside of our state, and when they did happen, they all pointed back to our state on how strong our anti-bullying law is. So I do agree with that. In addition, I also think that what I'm seeing in a school here this year is a lot of improvement. And you'll see schools taking it more seriously and taking a more active approach, and that's the most important thing that can happen from this law.
The laws are on the books, you know, drug laws, alcohol laws, weapons laws. If you don't enforce them, it's not going to matter. But I think you really have to crack the whip with this cyberbullying. Governor
Christie and the education department of our state is on the right track to look for ways to improve our bullying law and look for ways to protect our students. And I would encourage every other state to really closely examine what they currently have in place, not only with bullying, but in all laws that protect our students. Look at them closely, see if they can be updated. When is the last time they were even looked at? And make the necessary changes.
If you see someone being bullied, be an upstander and just stop it. Hopefully with the new laws that have been in effect, bullying will slow down more and hopefully stop.